She said I was just a phase. I never thought I'd end up being someone's mistake, let alone a phase. But that's exactly what she called me the last time we spoke. I remember the first time I saw her. It was the start of the spring semester, my second year at university. Everyone had come back from winter break, sun-kissed, relaxed, recharged. I was dragging my feet into my usual 8 a.m. sociology lecture, half awake and fully unmotivated. And then I saw her. She walked into class late, wearing an oversized black hoodie, with her hair pulled up into a messy bun. No makeup, no pretenses. She looked like she hadn't even wanted to be there, but damn if she didn't turn heads anyway, including mine. Her name was Leah, and from the moment I saw her, it was like someone turned the volume back on in my world. Colors got sharper, sounds got clearer, my pulse got louder. She didn't even look at me that day, but I couldn't stop looking at her. I found out later she had transferred from another university across the state. Rumors swirled quickly that she'd been in a toxic relationship, that she'd dropped out mid-semester the year before, that she'd moved here to start over. I didn't care about any of that. All I knew was that every time she walked into the lecture hall, I caught myself holding my breath. And every time she walked past me without a glance, it felt like gravity shifted. I don't even know how it finally happened. Maybe it was fate. Maybe it was timing. Maybe I was just the closest fool when she finally decided to let someone in. But it started with a pen. A stupid, half-broken blue pen she dropped in class one day. I picked it up. She looked at me, really looked at me, and smiled. "Thanks," she said. One word, one smile, and I swear I could feel it for hours. After that, everything snowballed. Fast. We sat next to each other more often. We started talking about the class, about music, about insomnia and coffee addictions, and how hard it was to pretend everything was okay when it wasn't. And within 2 weeks, I was hooked. Not just on her looks, though God knows she was stunning, but on her sadness, her silence, her unpredictability. She laughed like she hadn't in years, cried like she couldn't let anyone else see, and kissed me like she was trying to forget someone. I didn't care, because I thought I could be the one to fix it. To fix her. I had no idea I was just a bandage she ripped off the moment she started healing. I remember the first time we kissed. We were sitting outside her dorm, late at night, both of us wrapped in oversized sweatshirts. It was cold enough that I could see her breath, but warm enough that we didn't need to go inside just yet. She had just finished telling me about the worst night of her life. How her ex had cheated on her with someone from his high school. How she found out through an Instagram story. How he didn't even deny it, just said she was too much and that he couldn't deal with her breakdowns anymore. She laughed bitterly after she said that, then looked at me like I was supposed to say something that would make it all make sense. I didn't say anything. I just leaned in and kissed her. It wasn't planned. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And she kissed me back. That night, she texted me at 2:13 a.m. "Thank you for being kind to me. I don't know what I'd do without you, RN." And I was already in too deep. My friends warned me. "Don't get too invested, man." My roommate Liam told me. "She's still bleeding from that last guy. You don't want to be the rebound." But I didn't listen, because it didn't feel like a rebound. It felt like the beginning of something real. Weeks passed, then months. We started spending almost every day together. Breakfasts before class, late-night walks to the 24/7 diner, lying on the grass in the quad, watching clouds and trading secrets. She never labeled us. I never asked, but everyone knew. I was hers. She wasn't big on posting, but the few times she did, I was there. A photo of our shoes side by side, a story of her holding my hand, and once, even a candid shot of me laughing at something stupid. Captioned simply, "Safe." I thought that meant something. I met her friends. They didn't like me at first. I could tell. They looked at me like I was disposable, like they were just waiting for the day she moved on. But slowly, I won them over. Or maybe I just wore them down. We had our first fight 2 months in. I caught her texting her ex. Nothing flirty, just a simple, "Hope you're doing okay." Still, it stung. I asked her why. She rolled her eyes and said, "Because I'm not a monster. Just because he hurt me doesn't mean I have to hate him." I wanted to argue, but instead, I nodded. And that was the start of me biting my tongue. Over and over. Over time, I started noticing little cracks. Not in her, in us. There were days she wouldn't reply to my messages. Or she'd cancel plans last minute without much explanation. She'd go out with her friends and forget to tell me. Once, I asked her where she'd been after she didn't respond for almost a full day. She just said, I don't owe you a play-by-play of my life. Don't be clingy. Clingy. That word echoed in my head for days. Was I being too much? Was I suffocating her? But every time I pulled away, she'd reel me back in. She'd send a late-night text. Miss you. Wish you were here. I don't feel okay without you. And just like that, I was back. Always back. Then came the party. The night I still replay in my head 100 different ways. It was one of those off-campus house parties. Loud music. Sticky floors. Red cups everywhere. I wasn't even supposed to go. I had a paper due the next morning. But she insisted. Come. Just for a bit. I want to show you off. So I went. I showed up late. She was already there. When I walked in, I scanned the room. Took a second to find her. And when I did, my stomach dropped. She was on the couch, laughing. Sitting way too close to a guy I didn't recognize. His hand on her knee. Her hand not moving it. I stood there, frozen. She didn't even notice me at first. I had to walk up and say her name. She blinked like she was surprised I existed. Oh hey, you made it. Like I hadn't been the one who rearranged my whole night for her. Like I hadn't been the one who stayed up helping her study 2 nights ago when she had a breakdown over her midterms. The guy just looked at me and smirked. Didn't even move his hand. She didn't introduce me. Didn't explain. Didn't do anything. I stood there, looking stupid. She finally got up and said, let's talk outside. Outside. She was annoyed. Like I had done something wrong. Why are you acting weird? She snapped. I asked who the guy was. She shrugged. Just a friend. I asked why his hand was on her knee. She rolled her eyes. You're overreacting. It's not a big deal. I said it felt like a big deal. She got defensive. You know what? Maybe you're not cut out for this. Maybe you're too sensitive for someone like me. That hit harder than I expected. I didn't respond. Just turned and left. She didn't follow. The next day, she texted me. No apology. Just, you were being a little dramatic last night, but I still care about you. Let's not make it a thing. And again, I went back because I didn't want to lose her. Because even if it was messy, it was ours. And I told myself, everyone fights. Everyone makes mistakes. But it kept happening. There were more guys. Different names, different faces. Some she called friends. Some she didn't even bother to label. Each time I confronted her, it was the same dance. You're paranoid. You're insecure. Why can't you just trust me? And I believed her. Because I wanted to. Because the moments when it was good between us, when she looked at me and really saw me, they made all the hurt worth it. Or at least that's what I told myself. But those moments got rarer. And the hurt got heavier. One night, after another silent argument, I decided to check her Instagram. She had blocked me from seeing her stories. A mutual friend sent me a screenshot. There she was, in a club, sitting on the lap of that same guy from the party. His arms wrapped around her waist. Her head on his shoulder. The caption, "Can't fake this kind of peace." I stared at the image for a long time. Like if I looked long enough, it would change into something less cruel. But it didn't. That night, I didn't sleep. The next day, I confronted her. She didn't even deny it. I didn't lie, she said. You assumed I was yours. I never promised anything. I stood there, mouth open, trying to process what I just heard. Are you serious? I asked. She nodded, calm as ever. You were sweet, comfortable, but I don't belong to anyone. I never did. And you were just a phase. A soft place to land when things were chaotic. Just a phase. Just a phase. The girl I thought I'd marry. The girl I bent over backward for. The girl I told my secrets, my fears, my future to. She looked at me like I was a hoodie she'd outgrown. Something that once fit, but didn't anymore. I walked out of her apartment. This time, she didn't call after me. Didn't text later. Didn't say sorry. She moved on like I never existed. And I had to learn to breathe again without her in my lungs. I had to rebuild my sense of self from the ruins she left behind. But the worst part? Even now, sometimes I still miss her. Not the real her. The version I thought was real. The illusion I fell for. I wish I could say that walking out of her apartment that night was the end of it. That after everything she said to me, the way she looked at me like I had been some pit stop, some placeholder while she figured out what she really wanted, I just moved on. But that's not how heartbreak works. Not when the lies were that beautiful. Not when the illusion was that complete. Because in her arms, I didn't just feel loved. I felt safe. I felt like I was enough. Even though now I know I never was, at least, not to her. The days after it ended felt surreal. I kept thinking I'd wake up to a message from her, that this was all some cruel joke, and she'd tell me she made a mistake, that she missed me, that I wasn't just a phase. But my phone stayed silent. Worse, I watched her new life unfold in real time. Mutuals posted pictures, videos, smiling, laughing with him, his hand in hers, his hoodie on her shoulders, his name in her captions with heart emojis she used to save for me. The kind of affection I had to fight for, she gave to him effortlessly. It broke something inside me I didn't know could be broken. I tried deleting her, blocked her accounts, muted our friends, threw out the gifts she gave me. But every corner of my apartment still smelled like her perfume. Every hoodie I owned reminded me of how she used to curl up in it like it belonged to her. My bed still had that small tear on the corner of the sheet she said she'd sew up next week. There was no such thing as deleting her. She had embedded herself into the fabric of my life. And I hated her for that. And I hated myself more for still loving her. One night, a few weeks later, I got drunk alone. Pathetic, I know. I sat on the bathroom floor with the lights off, her playlist playing on repeat, and finally opened the folder I'd avoided on my phone, our old photos. There she was, smiling up at me with that fake innocence I used to swear was real, holding my face in her hands, kissing my cheek, wearing my hoodie. The captions hit harder than the images. My safe place. Only you. What we have is rare. Lies. All of it. Lies she told me with a straight face while texting other guys behind my back. But what really tore me apart were the videos. Because in motion, she looked alive. Genuine. Like she meant every laugh, every kiss. And in those moments, I could almost forget that the girl in those clips had destroyed me. I could almost believe that version of her was the real one. The one who cried when I was hurting. The one who said she'd never leave. The one who called me home. I watched until my phone died. Then I sat in the dark with the screen still in my hand, and I cried until I couldn't breathe. People said, time heals. But they didn't tell me time would drag me through hell first. The weeks bled into months. I stopped checking her socials. Stopped asking mutuals about her. Stopped imagining her coming back. I thought I was getting better. Thought I was healing. Until I saw her again. And it all came crashing back. I was at a party. One I didn't want to go to, but my friends insisted. Said I needed to get out. Said I needed closure. Screw closure. It's a lie. A pretty word for something that doesn't exist. I was standing by the kitchen counter, drink in hand, doing my best to pretend I was okay. And then she walked in. Hair longer. Smile wider. Wearing that same silver bracelet I once thought was mine to admire. And beside her, him. James. The guy she left me for. They looked happy. Or at least, she did. He looked smug. Smug the way someone does when they know they've won. She saw me. Our eyes locked. For a split second, something flickered behind her expression. Guilt? Nostalgia? Amusement? I'll never know. She gave me a small nod. He wrapped his arm around her waist, pulling her close. She leaned into him. And just like that, she turned away. Like I was no one. Like I was never anything. That night, I didn't cry. Didn't scream. Didn't drink. I went home, sat in the dark again. And I wrote. Every ugly truth. Every lie she told. Every piece of myself I gave away. I turned it into something I could see. Something real. Because if she had turned me into a face, then I'd turn her into a warning. A name I'd never speak again. But never forget either. I don't hate her anymore. Not in the way I used to. I pity her. Because someday, someone's going to do to her what she did to me. And when that happens, she'll understand what it feels like to be disposable. To be just a face. Just a placeholder. And maybe then, she'll remember me. And wonder how she could ever throw away something real. But by then, I'll be long gone. Better. Until she showed up again. Not in person, but in my inbox. Out of nowhere, one quiet Sunday afternoon, the kind where everything felt tolerably still, her name lit up my phone. Leah. Just that. No preview. No context. My heart stopped. I stared at it for a long time before opening it. I shouldn't have, but I did. Hey, I know I'm the last person you want to hear from. I saw something today that reminded me of you. Hope you're doing okay. That was it. Not sorry. Not I was wrong. Not I miss you. Just a casual digital ghost slipping back into my bloodstream like a virus I thought I'd cured. I didn't reply. I wanted to. I wanted to scream at her. I wanted to ask why. I wanted to say you broke me. But what would it change? She didn't message again. And for days after, I felt like I'd been pulled back under the water I'd spent months clawing my way out of. That one text unraveled so much progress. I started replaying everything again, wondering if she meant it, wondering if she missed me, even just a little. But deep down, I knew better. That message wasn't for me. It was for her, to ease her guilt, to test if she still had access to the part of me that once would have moved heaven and earth for her. And I hated that it worked, but I didn't let it stay that way. I started therapy, quietly, reluctantly, told the therapist I was there because of a breakup, but we both knew it was more than that. It was a betrayal of trust, of hope, of identity. I'd built a version of myself around the way she saw me or claimed to see me. And when she took it away, I felt like I didn't know who I was anymore. But little by little, I began rebuilding, not to prove anything to her, but to reclaim the parts of me I gave away too easily. I started running, journaling, learning how to be alone without feeling abandoned. I reconnected with friends I'd pushed aside while orbiting around her universe. I picked up my guitar again. The music came slowly, like thawing, but eventually, I wrote a song about her. Not a love song, not a hate song, just honest. I played it once at an open mic night near campus. The applause didn't fix me, but when I walked off that stage and sat back down alone, I felt a strange calm, like maybe I was finally pulling the knife out instead of twisting it. And then one day, I passed her on campus. She was with him, the same guy from the party, the lab, the caption. They were laughing. She didn't see me, or maybe she did and just didn't care. I kept walking, heart tight in my chest, but no collapse, no spiral, just a small ache, dull and distant. The kind of pain you get from a scar when it rains. That was the day I realized something. She may have broken me, but I didn't stay broken. She may have used me, but I learned not to be used again. She may have called me a face, but I was real. My love was real. My loyalty, my intentions. And I've learned that sometimes being real in a world full of masks is what hurts the most. But it's also what makes you strong. She taught me that. Not with kindness, not with grace, but with fire. And I walked through it. So now, when people ask what happened between us, I don't flinch anymore. I just smile, a little sadly, and say, she said I was just a phase. And now, I thank God I didn't become her future, because I'm finally building one of my own. The end.